everybody, it's Kerrie here at the North East Autism Society, and I've got Sarah with me today, and Sarah's just popped online to tell us some top tips after diagnosis. So Sarah, are you okay just to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, well, we're here all day. My name's Sarah. I am a late diagnosed autistic adult. I was diagnosed at 34. I'm now not 34, I'm a bit older. And it's took a long time to get to this point. I have 3 children, one of which is diagnosed autistic. Another one will be going on the pathway. And I met Kerrie through a fabulous fella called Kieran Rose. He has to be mentioned. And I work alongside Kerrie with the neurodiversity think tank with NIAS.
Great. So Sarah, how old was your child when they were diagnosed? Is it your son or your daughter you're talking about?
My son Harry was diagnosed just after his 3rd birthday. And he's coming up 10 now. So yeah, it's been a long journey of changing what I thought autism was, and well, what everybody think autism is, and really kind of changing it into a positive, a real positive, stripping down all the interventions that we were given. They just didn't work. They really didn't work. So it was all things like reward based and behaviour, concentrate on the behaviour, and unfortunately it just put him in a jar and just shook it till I had a child that was completely broken. So we literally released the jar, and I now have an amazing child. And he is working to his full potential every single second of the day, because I've just completely and utterly got rid of all of the negativity that was surrounding autism at that time. And that was it. So we just kind of...
How did you feel, Sarah, initially when you got the diagnosis? How did you feel at that point?
Initially, relief. That because I'd been going to professional since he was 10 months old. So I got a lot of the whole first time mum, that sort of kind of, oh, maybe you're suffering with postnatal depression, you have a history of, of mental illness. It was all kind of, I'm making him like that. No one ever said the A word. And it was really jarring. It was really destructive. And I turned it on me, and I thought, do you know what it is? It is me. It is me. I've made him like this. And it weren't until he went into the school setting that I luckily had one of the teachers was a parent of special needs. And he validated everything. He said, I completely and utterly see what you're telling me. And it was from then on, with the support of the school, that we got his diagnosis within 18 months. It was really quick. And it was awful to think that I wasn't listened to, and that I believed that it was me making him like that. It was hard, really hard in the beginning. But once I got that validation and the support, it was good. But initially, when I got the diagnosis, it was one of relief, but then at the same time it was kind of, it was really sad, because it was just so negative. Everything about, it was the things like, he'll never be able to paint, he'll never be able, because of sensory issues, he'll never live a full life, you know what I mean, he'll never ever do this, he'll never do this, he'll never do that. And it was just like, why? And I did fall into that trap initially, and it was just like, I shielded him. We didn't go out because it would cause a meltdown, and we wouldn't go out the front because he'd just play with drains, and everyone was looking, and I shielded him for a long time. And then it was just heartbreaking to look back at, thinking, it was just trying to be a kid, but I was so kind of clouded over with the negative view of autism, that I didn't allow him. That's the word. I didn't allow him to be a child.
Is there a kind of a moment when that shift in your thoughts happened, Sarah? Was there a pivotal moment?
There was a very massive day for us. We were, after 10 minutes of being in the nursery setting, school rang up, can you come and get him? We can't handle him. Self-harming, loads and loads of awful stuff that he was doing in that 10 minutes. So I went and picked him up. And I only live around the corner from school, and we were walking home by the bus stop, very noisy, busy road, and he couldn't handle it. He hadn't kind of finished what was happening in the school, and the transition type thing, and he broke down at the bus stop in front of absolutely everyone. And I was trying my hardest, heavily pregnant, to kind of hold him down and pin him down, basically stop him from running off to the road. And a lady had seen this across the other side of the road. She'd come over, and I thought she was going to give me a hand. I genuinely thought that. So I kind of released my hook from Harry, and she just gave me a barrage of abuse, of how I was a bad mum. I shouldn't be letting children like that out. I should be ashamed of myself. And it was just all in this moment. I'm trying to contain a 4-year-old. I was heavily pregnant on a busy road, and there's all this danger. Yeah. And and it was just, and I vowed from that minute there, after obviously a bit of an altercation, but after that moment, I said, I will never ever allow anyone to talk to me or my child like that again. And we just completely and utterly changed our whole outlook. And I was like, if he can't manage walking home, then we won't walk home. We'll find another way. If he can't manage 10 minutes in school, then we're not going to school. We'll stay home, and we'll work a way for him to be able to at least voice his concerns, do you know what I mean? Just to really, really home in on Harry, and find out exactly what it is that he needed.
Yeah,
that was it. Yeah, and I thought, I'm just not going to go through this anymore, and I can't put him through it anymore. It was awful. I mean, when you can't have 10 minutes in a nursery setting, something's wrong. So, and it was, and it all came about then. And, we were having, I rang the crisis team, which is like social services, because I just couldn't handle it anymore. And they came in and they were like, oh, this reward system, and it was all that kind of ABA in disguise type thing. And I thought, oh, this is fantastic, and it was just, no, it just didn't work. So I was like, gone, all of it gone. No, get out.
So what would you say, Sarah? Because obviously we know that life is really difficult for some of our parents. Absolutely, we don't want to take that. We couldn't underestimate that. But if, to a new parent now that's just got a diagnosis, knowing what you know now, what kind of tips would you give them? Things to think about?
Spend time really getting to know your child. Really, really understanding them. And I don't just mean, he kicks off because he doesn't like soup, and he doesn't like the smell of it, he doesn't like being around it. Really home in as to why, like understand exactly why they don't like, for example, the soup. What is it about the soup? Do you know what I mean? Really try and get to the absolute core of your child or adult. Really, really strip it all down. Your child and adult more than anybody in the world. You are the expert. You might not feel like it, but you are the best voice, the best advocate for that child. And if you really home in on them, and really kind of explore as to what they are feeling and why they feel it, and validate them, like really, really get to the core of that person, then you can help them, because it's like if you can't help someone if you can't fully understand them, and to me that's the main tip I would get, is to spend time with that person to really, really understand them.
Brilliant. That's great. Thank you so much for that insight, Sarah. That has been wonderful. Thank you.